today's digital age, the term brain rot has become more than just a buzzword. It's a silent epidemic. As screens take over our lives, we're noticing significant shifts in attention spans, memory, and mental health. The question arises, could the constant scrolling and viral content be rewiring our brains in ways that are irreversible? What's truly happening to our minds, and can we fix it before it's too late? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Now, let's start by diving into a term that's been popping up in conversation in Ohio. If you're a member of Gen Alpha, born between 2010 and 2024, you're likely familiar with it. Ohio has become slang used to describe something random, strange, or cringy. Kids say things like, "only in Ohio" or "you're so Ohio," as a way to poke fun at bizarre moments or memes. It's part of a whole new vocabulary that's part of the fabric of Gen Alpha's experience. This may seem amusing, even a bit confusing if you're not familiar, but it's also part of a larger, growing concern about what's happening to young people's brains. Researchers have linked brain rot to something called problematic interactive media use, PIMU. This term refers to the harmful effects of excessive online activity, particularly among younger people. Dr. Michael Rich, a pediatrician at Boston's Children's Hospital, explains that those suffering from brain rot often filter their daily experiences through the lens of online content, which shapes their behavior and interactions. Essentially, overusing digital and interactive media can interfere with a young person's real-life experiences, leading to poor school performance, strained family relationships, and emotional challenges. Nearly all teens have access to smartphones and computers today, with many online constantly. The effects of this digital overload aren't just hypothetical. They're becoming a very real part of young people's lives. Of course, technology isn't inherently bad. It allows us to make new connections, access new ideas, and express ourselves in ways we couldn't have before. But could the downsides of overuse outweigh the benefits? Is brain rot as terrible as some adults think it is? Or is it just a byproduct of the environment, particularly for those who grew up during the COVID-19 pandemic? One stark comparison that comes to mind is a famous painting known as the 2,000-yard stare, a portrayal of a soldier's blank gaze after experiencing the horrors of war. Some TikTok users have pointed out how this look resembles the blank stare many of us have when doom scrolling through social media, consuming endless amounts of negative news. This analogy may not be perfect, but it highlights how the overwhelming nature of digital content can lead to emotional detachment and increased anxiety. In fact, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are among the most anxious generations on record. While consuming content may seem like an escape, it often just adds to their worries. To tackle this issue, some people turn to medication. However, there's still a stigma surrounding mental health treatments, particularly when it comes to medication. This is especially challenging for those who find even the simple act of swallowing a pill overwhelming. Enter companies like GelTech, which are revolutionizing how we take medication. By using a gel-based delivery system, they're offering an alternative that's more discreet and easier for people who struggle with pills. It's even been shown to offer taste masking and controlled release, which could make a difference in how we approach health and wellness in the future. While medication can help, the real key to addressing brain rot is making lifestyle changes. It's not just about avoiding overuse of technology, it's about rethinking how we interact with it. A study by the group Replies found that 65% of children aged 8 to 12 own smartphones and iPads. These devices are shaping their brains in ways we didn't experience growing up. For example, kids today may develop gaming addictions, social media dependency, and an over-reliance on technology for problem-solving, all of which stifle independent thinking. The problem goes deeper than just addiction to apps or games. The constant multitasking and rapid processing of information when we use social media or mobile phones contribute to something called attention deficit disorder economy, This refers to the constant distractions and stimuli that make it harder for our brains to focus deeply or retain information. In short, the more time we spend on our devices, the harder it becomes to concentrate on tasks that require sustained attention. This is why we're seeing an increase in ADHD diagnoses in children. Numbers have surged over the last few years, especially among girls. Moreover, this tech-induced decrease in attention span is tied to dopamine depletion. Our brains get used to high-stimulus activities like scrolling through social media, which creates a cycle of dependence. Over time, our brains start to crave more stimulation, which lowers our ability to focus and increases our susceptibility to addiction. And while digital content is fun and informative, global depression rates have been steadily climbing, particularly in high-income countries. People are less happy, and part of this is due to an overexposure to screens that prevents us from being able to sit with our thoughts or engage in deep reflection. The constant bombardment of information has serious effects on cognitive performance. We've all experienced mental fatigue from endless scrolling and notifications, and this overload results in what researchers call cognitive offloading, relying on our devices to remember things for us. For example, when you're watching a movie with friends and can't remember the name of an actor, the first thing we often do is reach for our phones to look it up. While the information was probably stored in our memory, we've become so used to relying on technology that we don't make an effort to recall it. This dependency on devices is leading to a form of digital dementia, where we're losing our ability to remember and problem-solve independently. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself in response to new experiences, is impacted by technology. While it can help us grow by exposing us to new ideas and people, it also undermines the deeper brain functions needed for long-term focus and attention. This leads to a weakening of face-to-face social skills as kids adapt to digital interactions rather than in-person ones. So, what can we do to combat this? One way is through a digital detox, where we step away from screens for a set period each day. Reducing screen time can help reset our brains, reduce sensory overload, and restore our attention span. Also, setting designated periods for focused work, whether it's reading or studying, can help retrain our brains to focus for longer periods. For some, practicing mindfulness or meditation can also help reduce the mental clutter and stress that come from constant digital exposure. Even spending time outside, just 30 minutes a day, can improve our mood and restore cognitive function. A simple walk or sitting in a park can be incredibly beneficial, especially when we feel the urge to scroll endlessly. The goal is to reduce passive content consumption and engage with information more purposefully. Having face-to-face conversations instead of just texting or commenting online can stimulate our brains in ways that digital interactions can't. At the end of the day, the key to conquering brain rot is not about rejecting technology, but about finding balance. Young people today may have grown up in a world of constant digital interaction, but many of them understand this landscape better than anyone. Their approach to technology is more nuanced than adults often think, and with the right guidance, they may be in the best position to find healthy moderation. So, while it's easy to worry about the future of screen-addicted generations, it's important to remember that the kids who are most affected by brain rot may also be the ones best equipped to manage it. Let's trust them to find solutions because, after all, they've probably Googled it.